Hey everyone, Cyclone here from CYCIEprodz on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Hoping you guys are having a good day. Me, not so much, but I am getting a little bit more work done with my spine situation that I'm hoping I finally get the surgery I need done. But let's talk about the world's most iconic arena, the eighth wonder of the world, Madison Square Garden. It's actually the fourth garden where it sits right now. It started out in 1879 at Madison Square, between 5th and Broadway at 23rd Street, and it was an open air arena. Became an indoor arena, enclosed, back in 1890. It moved in 1925 then to 8th Avenue and 49th 50th Streets. Then in 1968, it moved downtown slightly to where it sits right now, between 8th and 7th, 31st and 33rd Streets. Does it move across the street to the old post office building eventually? I don't know. I mean, Dolan put in so much money to, remodel the arena. But there is construction going on, so you don't know if it'll actually ever happen. But it looks like it is. I think. I don't know. It's a construction site mess over there, is what it is. But I think it should be just left alone. Honestly, leave it where it is. It doesn't need to be moved again. But there is something that the arena has been lacking. Big time boxing. And big time boxing in New York is basically dead as a doornail. Now look, everyone from Ali, Frazier, Foreman, Evander, Tyson has fought in the Garden. Heck, Canelo fought Rocky Fielding in the main arena. Okay, that fight wasn't in the Hulu Theater, it was in the main arena. Now, they say that Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor back in 2022 was a sellout. No. Sellouts for boxing in the main arena are 20,789. That is maximum capacity. There wasn't that many for Katie and Amanda. No way. I guarantee you there were swatches up in the upper bowl that were empty. I think that the last real sellout might have been back in 2000, which is hard to believe. It's a quarter of a century ago. Now, Lennox Lewis versus Michael Grant. That's when Celebrity Row was still nuts with people. Now, look, there's been iconic names in boxing that haven't fought in the Garden or New York, period. Rocky Marciano, hard to believe, never fought in the Garden. Tyson Fury hasn't. Floyd hasn't. Manny Pacquiao, as Jimmy Lennon Jr. would say. And actually, Manny Pacquiao and Bob Arum did a co-interview not too long ago, and they were talking about why they didn't have any fights in the Garden. And he kept coming back to one thing over and over again: money. The commission has to get money. The venue takes money. And if there's any money left, the tax man cometh. So it costs a ton to put on an event in the Garden, or frankly in New York. Um, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya have put on cards in the Garden and were not complete sellouts. I mean, Teofimo Lopez sells out the Hulu Theater easy. Nowhere close to selling out the Garden. It takes a special name to sell out the main arena. I mean, AJ Andy Ruiz was at the main arena. Was that a sellout? Close to it. Not a complete sellout. So it takes a fight with a lot of heat. You need more than just the A side. You need the A and the B side to be there. Are there any guys that could sell out the main arena right now? I think Alexander Usyk could sell out the main arena. I think Inoue would come close to selling out the arena. And as much as I hate him, I think Tank Davis could sell out the arena. Now look, there's another card coming up next week with Bob Arum, where Keyshawn Davis finally goes for a major title. But again, Bob Arum uses the Hulu Theater. And honestly, I think there's only reason why he's still using New York is loyalty. Loyalty to the venue. Because he's been putting on events there for what? 50 years? You know? But again, it's the Hulu. And not all those cards actually sell out either. For as good as Lomachenko is, could he sell out the main arena? No. Now, if Tank fought Loma in New York, it would be the main arena. I don't think, and this might be a stretch, that Big Time Boxing will ever be back at the Garden. And like I said, the reason is financial. It's taxes. And other venues are offering such sweet deals that promoters just can't say no. And look, Turki Al-Sheikh, as much as I hate him, is throwing everything Saudi has at boxing, and they're all coming over there. Obviously, you still have Vegas. You sprinkle in California. New York just... It needs something that is... It needs help. And what type of help am I talking about? I think if politicians, and I know nobody wants to hear politicians talk. I know this. But I think if an Eric Adams got in the ear of Mr. DJT sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, I mean, Don was able to lure the World Cup to California, the Olympics. Maybe he somehow can push or help drag some promoters back into New York. But it's going to take someone like Eric Adams to go to Donald Trump first. Because we know how Kathy Hochul ain't. Kathy Hochul couldn't give two poops, right? If Eric Adams got in Don Trump's ear and said, look, New York obviously needs money. easy way is get a card into the main arena. You need the big names. And there's few and far between that can put in 20,000 plus people at the drop of a dime. Okay, the card that they're talking, Rolly against Ryan Garcia. They don't have a venue yet. Yet they're saying the card is locked to be in New York in Times Square. But quite frankly, the only venue in Times Square is the Paramount Theater, and they're not going to do a boxing card in the Paramount Theater, especially that one. It's okay for the Golden Gloves to be there. It's okay for FDNY versus NYPD to be there. A card like Rolly and against Ryan and Devin Haney there, and F.A. and Martin Bacoli. No. Now, where could that card be? Probably Radio City if it's going to be in New York. But Radio City isn't considered Times Square. The only thing in Times Square is the Paramount, and it's not going to be there. So I think very strongly, and you guys, drop a comment, drop a question, let me know what you think. I know you probably don't want politicians involved either, but I think politicians need to get into promoters' ears and say, look, bring a card in. Bring it in. Don't take Saudi money. Don't even go to Vegas or California. Come to New York. New York has so much more to offer. Look, for as good as Bud Crawford is, he's only fought at the Hulu. Will there sellouts there? Yeah. Couple. Shakur could fight at the Hulu and could fill it. Absolutely. Could he fill the Garden? No. It's a name like Tank. It's a name like Usyk. Those are the names, and like I said, few and far between. Maybe Inoue. I mean, Beterbiev filled the Hulu when he fought Joe Smith. Could that have filled the Garden? No. Joe Smith isn't at least at this point, Joe Smith isn't a good solid name that can fill 20+ thousand seat arena. But like I said, I think politicians can soothe the financial side of things, where boxing could come back. Maybe PBC drop a card at the Barclays and do one in the Garden. Benavidez against Bivol or Beterbiev. I would love that card to be in New York. It should be in New York. That would be insane. You have the Mexican fan base here. You have a Russian fan base here. That would fill that, and same thing with for Bivol. That fight would fill the arena. I'm worried that Turkey Al-Sheikh or Vegas or California will just throw just too much money. That's why politicians, again, need to get involved. But let me know what you think. Drop in a comment below. And until the next video, Cyclone saying, peace out. Homies. Bye.